Introduction. Hello students. What do we need to run our TV set, refrigerator, DVD player, video games and fax machines? Yes, it is electricity. Electricity has always been around us because it naturally exists. Lightning, for instance, is simply a flow of electrons between the ground and the clouds. Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you have seen the introduction video of today's topic, electricity. So before beginning the chapter, I want to say that this is going to be a long video. So I want you to watch in one trot, but if you have limited data or limited time, you can watch it part by part also. But you must watch the entire video to get the entire concept of electricity, because this is a new topic and this topic was not there in your previous classes. Okay, so let's begin the chapter. Now, electricity. Now, in your book, if you have read your book, it is defined as electricity can flow when there is a potential difference and the circuit is closed. This is what have been stated in your book, but obviously it becomes difficult to understand what the definition of electricity, because there are some terms which as of now you don't know the meaning of it. For example, the important thing, potential difference. As of now you don't have any idea about what is this potential differences. Or if I say a circuit is closed, so you have to understand these terms, potential difference and circuit, to get the entire idea about what is electricity is. So we will do it part by part, topic by topic. We will understand what is a potential difference, we will understand what is a circuit, what is a conductor, insulator, a switch, everything. We will do it part by part. That is why I told you it is going to be a little lengthy video, because there are a lot of things I need to cover up to make you understand this topic. So okay, so let's start this chapter by understanding the first term. The first term that we need to understand is what is potential difference, right? What is potential difference? But you cannot understand the term potential difference unless you know the structure of an atom. So first thing that you need to know is the structure of an atom. Till now you know what is an atom. Okay, the atom is the smallest part of an element which may or may not exist independently. So you know the definition of atom, that it is the smallest part of a matter. But inside the atom, what are the things which are present, that you need to know. Then only we can understand this chapter electricity in details. So firstly, I need to explain you, before this, I need to explain you what is the structure of an atom. Now, if you look, this is the entire cell, the entire atom. Okay. Now, inside the atom, there are three kinds of particles, three types of particles. The first particle is called as the protons. The second particle, which is called as the neutrons, and the third particle is called as the electrons. So inside the atom, these three major particles are present. So how they are present, that is the question. So you consider that inside this entire atom, if you consider this as the atom, inside this entire atom, there is a particular part called as the nucleus. So there is a particular part called as the nucleus. So this is considered as the nucleus. Like in any chapter cells in biology, you have the nucleus, that is the center part of a cell. You consider that only. There is a central part called as the nucleus. Okay, so this is called as the nucleus. Now inside the nucleus, these two particles, the protons and neutrons, stay. Okay, so there are some protons which I am marking with P, protons are there, and there are some neutrons. Say there are some neutrons, N. So there are some protons as well as there are some neutrons. So as of now, I have drawn 4 protons and 4 neutrons. Okay, and outside the nucleus, it is the electrons are present. So electrons are present outside the nucleus, and electrons are present in an orbit, like the all the planets revolve around in its own orbit around the sun. Similar way, there is an orbit. Okay, these are imaginary lines, and on the orbits, say another orbit like this. Okay, 2 orbits are there, and on the orbit, the electrons are revolving. So electrons are revolving where? Out in the orbit. So over here the electrons are present. So these are the electrons which are present in the orbit. So this is the electron, and these are the protons and neutrons inside the nucleus. So basically you got the structure of atom. Now after this I need to explain you that protons which is there inside the nucleus, this proton is positively charged. So, and these electrons, that is negative charge, okay? And these neutrons, they are neutral. Okay. So these neutrons are neutral, they do not have any charge. The protons have positive charge and the electrons have negative charge. Now what is a charge? That might also be a question that might be coming to your mind. Charge, positive charge or negative charge. Charge means you can consider a charge as an energy. So this particle over here, which is an electron, it carries a negative energy within himself, and that negative energy is said as negative charge. Similarly, these protons which is there inside the nucleus, they carry a positive energy with them, and this positive energy is only positive charge. So you can consider the charge is a kind of a energy or a electrical energy, so which a particle carries with himself. So charge is a energy. A proton carries a positive energy, so positive charge. Electron carries a negative energy, that is a negative charge. Right? Till here you understood? Now you watch this video to make it more conceptual.
As we know, an atom has positive charges, that is protons. They are situated at the central part of the atom, that is nucleus, whereas the negative charge, the electrons, remain orbiting in their shell around the nucleus.
So I hope you understood the structure of atom. The atom consists of 3 major particles, that is the proton, neutron and electron. Now as of now I am not considering the neutron because that is neutral, so it does not have any effect in the charge factor. So I will consider the protons and electrons. Now over here I have 2 diagrams. In this diagram you can see this part is called the nucleus, and inside the nucleus there are 5 green dots. These 5 green dots represents the 5 protons. The green dot represents protons. So the 5 green dots represent 5 proton. Now in nature it is seen that if an atom has 5 protons, If an atom has 5 protons, then conversely that will also have 5 electrons. So if it has 5 protons, it is going to also have 5 electrons. And what we know, that the electrons are present where? In the orbits. So take this as the dotted circle as the orbit, and in the orbit I have the 5 electrons. 1 electron, 2 electron, 3 electron, 4 electron and 5 electron. Correct? So the red one represents what? Electron. Even over here also, if there is 5 protons, there will be 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Right? Now, it happens due to some reason. I am not explaining what is the reason as of now. One electron from the orbit might go away. Again I am repeating, one electron may get removed. And if one electron gets removed, one electron is removed. If one electron is removed, then what the atom will become? There will be the nucleus again with 5 protons, but now we have only 4 electrons because one electron got removed. So inside the orbit, if I take this as the orbit, we have only 4 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right now, if you see over here, I had 5 protons, 5 electrons, but now I have 5 protons and 4 electrons. So that means what? Positive charge is more and negative charge is less. If positive charge is more and negative charge is less, then the entire atom behaves as a positive particle. So what does positive charge means? Positive charge means deficit of electrons or lack of electrons. So if an atom is positive charge, that means what? Lack of electrons. As you can see, 5 proton and 5 electrons. That was the positive charges were neutralized. The positive charges and the negative charges, they were neutralizing each other. So they were equal to each other, and the entire charge was becoming 0. Positive and negative equal. But over here, what is happening? Positive is more, protons are more, 5 protons, and electrons are less, 4 electrons. So electrons are less, negative charge is less, and positive is more. As a result, the positive charge dominates. So I have written the entire atom as positive charge. So positive charge means what? Lack of electrons. Electrons, only 4 electrons are there. So 1 electron is deficit, so lack of electron. Similarly, over here, what happens is that, suppose you consider the situation again same. There are 5 protons which are there in the center of the nucleus. So okay, 5 protons are there, 5 positive charges, and you have the outer shell orbit. Right? Now over here, what is happening is 1 electron comes, removed, or over here 1 electron comes. So from somewhere an extra electron comes. If an extra electron comes, then what will happen? There won't be 5 electrons, but there will be 6 electrons. So right now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are total 6 electrons, and these 6 electrons over here makes the atom as what kind of charge? Think and tell me the answer. Now electrons are more, negative charge is more, and positive charge or the protons are less. So if negative charge is more, then the atom as a whole acts as a negative charge. So there will be, I'll put a negative sign because electrons are more. So if our atom is negative charge, what that indicates? It indicates what? It indicates extra electron. Extra electron. So I hope you understood this topic. If you didn't understood, I am repeating myself once more. Atom is there. Atom has 5 protons and 5 electrons, and that is the nature's theory, that if an atom has 4 electrons, it will be having 4 protons. If it has 7 electrons, 7 protons. Okay, positive and negative charges should be equal to each other. So like over here, I have 5 protons and 5 electrons, 5 positive charge, 5 negative charges. Due to some reason, 1 electron goes away. Now I have only 4 electrons, but the protons number is 7. 5 protons, but over here 4 electrons. As a result, what I get to see is that protons is 1 more than the electrons. Positive charge is more. So the entire atom behaves as a positive charge because protons are more, 1 extra. Similarly, over here, I have 5 protons and 5 electrons. Now, due to some reason, 1 extra electron comes. 1 extra electron is gained. If 1 extra electron is gained, now what happens? Now there are 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons. But the number of protons are same, 5 protons. So now as over here, what happens? The entire atom behaves as a negative charge because there is 1 extra electron. Electrons are negatively charged. So since I am having 1 extra electron, the entire atom will behave as a negative charge. So now you understood the basic concept about positive charge and negative charge. Positive charge means what? Lack of electrons. And negative charge means what? Extra electrons. Clear? So remember this thing, positive charge means what? Lack of electrons, and negative charge means what? Extra electrons. It will help you to understand the next topic, that is called potential difference, because in potential difference you need to know what is a positive charge, what is a negative charge. Positive charge, when an atom has deficit of electrons, number of electrons are less compared to the number of protons. Number of electrons are less compared to the number of protons. And negative charge means what? Number of electrons are more compared to the number of protons. So I hope you understood this two part. Now our next topic is to understand potential difference. Now we have to understand what is called potential difference. See, these are the small terms. First you understood what is the structure of atom. Then you understood how an atom becomes positive charge, how an atom becomes negative charge. Now you understand what is a potential difference. So our topic is potential difference. Right? So let me give you an idea of potential difference through a small example. Suppose there are 2 jars. One jar like this way, and it is connected to the second jar. And in the jar, what is there? Some water is there. So both the jars are at the same level. You consider both the jars are at the same level. Now you consider some water is there. See over here, this much of water is there, and the same level of water is over here. Okay. Now, so these are the water. This is the water. Now both the level of water is same. Now if I give you a task of increasing the level of water over here, increasing the level of water in jar 1, okay, and this is jar 2. So I want the level of water in jar 1 to rise and level of water in jar 2 to decrease. Okay, so I want the level of water to rise. So how I can do that? How I can increase the level of water in jar number 1? Is there any idea? If you don't have any idea, then see how we can increase is that we will shift this level of water upward. So we will shift this level, this jar upward. So right now what I will do is that now as you have seen in this diagram, what I have done is that the amount of water is shifted upward. Sorry, the jar only got shifted upward. Now as the jar shifted upward, what happens? Water from here enters this. So water from the jar number 2 enters jar number 1, and now the water level will rise. So now the water level will rise. So previously it was over here, now it got over here. So the water level risen by this much. So did you notice one thing? When previously both of them were in the same height, was the water flowing? No. Why did the water flow? When I increased the height of jar 2, then only the water traveled from jar 2 to jar 1. That means what? If I want a flow of water, what did I create? I created a height difference. Because of the difference of height only, the water transferred from level 2 to level 1. Previously, when it was in the same height, the water never transferred. Now when there is this kind of a height difference, the water flowed from jar 2 to jar 1. This is what is required to understand potential difference. If you have understood this thing, very good. If you haven't understood, watch the video.
Imagine you have two beakers with equal amount of water and they are connected to each other by a pipe at the bottom. If you observe the two beakers for a second, do you think the water will flow from one beaker to another? No. You will see the water level remains same and there is no flow of water from one beaker to another. Now suppose I want the water to flow from beaker 2 to beaker 1. Again I repeat, I want the water to flow from beaker 2 to beaker 1 without adding or removing any extra amount of water. So how am I supposed to do it? Think for a second. Well, it's very easy. Just I raise the height at which the second beaker is kept. Once it is raised to a height, the water will flow from beaker 2 to beaker 1. So, what exactly happened here? What was the factor that made the water flow? In simple terms, the factor was height. So there was a height difference that made the water flow from beaker 2 to beaker 1. Exactly in similar way, for electricity to flow, there has to be some factor.
So now we come to the part potential difference. Acha, did you heard the word potential somewhere else? Previous this chapter, have you heard the word potential? Yes, you have potential energy. When the ball is at a certain height from the ground, it has what? Potential energy, or potential energy is high. And as the ball drops to this level or ground, what happens? Potential energy decreases. So at the down level, what happens? Potential energy is low. Now similarly, you consider something like this. Uh, say there are negative charges on one side, okay, and there is positive charges on the other side. And what is negative charge? I think I made you understand. Negative charge means what? Negative atoms. Negative atom means what? Extra electrons. So all these atoms have what? Extra electrons. So that is why these are all negative charge. And over here, these atoms has what? Deficit of electrons, lack of electrons. So that is what it makes them positive charge, right? Now, electrons, I think I made you understand electrons. Electrons are what? Electrons revolve in the orbit of an atom. Now, if the electron, one electron is over here, say one electron is over here. Now, these negative charges, okay, this is not a negative charge, say an electron, okay, this is an electron. These negative charges that we have, what happens? It repels the electron. It repels because these are negative charge and electron is also a negative charge. And what happens? Negative charge repels negative charge. So right now, at this point, when the electron is close to the negative charges, the electron has high potential. Okay. Again, I am repeating, when the electron is near the negative charges, the electron has high potential. And similarly, when the ball is at a height, it has high potential energy. Similarly, electrons near the negative charges has high potential. Now what will happen? These negative charges will repel the electron, and if the negative charges repel the electron will move over here. And what we have over here? Positive charges. Positive charges means positive charges will attract this electron. Positive charges is going to attract the electron. So what happens? Electron shifts from this place to this place. Now the electron is over here. And as the electron has gone over here, now that means what? Now it has gone to a lower potential. Now electrons is near the positive charges. So that means what? It has low potential. So from here, what did you understood? Electron near the negative charges, high potential. Electron near the positive charges, lower potential. So from here, you got that, you understood a little bit about potential difference. What is potential difference? Potential difference, you can say the difference of charges. There is negative charge, or say negative, or there is, I can say there are negative charges and there are positive charges. And what I told about negative charges, this has extra electron. And what does positive charges indicate? They have deficit or lack of electrons. So over here lots of electrons, over here less number of electrons. So that means what? There is a difference of charge. Lot of negative charge, less amount of negative charge. This difference of charge, this difference of charge, or I can say difference of electrons, okay, difference of charges, or I can write difference of negative charge or electrons, this difference of negative charge or electrons, that is only called potential difference. So potential difference is the difference of negative charge or electrons, correct? And because of this difference of negative charge, means there is a negative charge and there is a positive charge, because of the difference of charge, this particular electron has flown. Just like in the previous example, due to difference of height, the water has flown from jar B to jar A. Similarly, over here, due to difference of charges, electron has traveled from one end to another end. Understood this part? So difference of charge or difference of electrons, that is only potential difference. Now say suppose there is a wire, okay, copper wire. This copper wire will have electrons, okay. This copper wire, suppose over here there is one electron. Will the electron will be traveling from this end, say the end A, and this is end B. Will the electron will travel from end A to the end B just like that? No, it is not going to flow. Just like the water, when they were in the same, both the jars were in the same height, did the water flow from jar B to jar A? No, it didn't flow because they were at the same height. So the electron will not travel from A to B. Okay, the electron was not traveling. So what I will do to make the electron flow? I will give a potential difference. So over here I will give a potential difference. So over here at this point I will store lots of electron. At over here I will store lots of electron. And at this point I will make electrons less. So this end becomes deficit or lack of electrons. Now end A has lots of electrons, extra electrons. End B has deficit of electrons. Because of this difference of electrons at both the ends, what is created? A potential difference is created. So at this point between end A and end B, over here, what is created? A potential difference is created. And because of the potential difference, this electron right now it will travel, because this deficit of electrons or lack of electrons will make this end, the end B, as what? Positive charge, and the end A, which have lots of electron, that will make the end A as what? Negative charge. Now this electron over here, okay, I am marking with a green line. This electron over here, what will happen? This electron will get repelled by these negative charges, and this electron will get attracted by the positive charges. So electron gets repelled by the negative charges and electron will get attracted by the positive charges. As a result, now this electron will travel from A to B through this wire. Now you might be thinking one question: will this negative and positive, they will come together and they will neutralize? No, it is not going to happen. This negative and this positive is not going to neutralize themselves, because there is a barrier, and because of the barrier, this negative and the positive charges will not come in contact with each other. Clear? So the electron now it will travel from the negative side to the positive side, and this flow of electrons from the negative end to the flow of electron from the negative end towards the positive end will create electricity. Okay, that will create electricity. So flow of electrons flow of electrons. Is the electron flowing? Yes, the electron is flowing. The flow of electron, and why the electron is flowing? The electron is flowing because a potential difference is applied. Because of this potential difference, if I don't give this potential difference, the electron is not moved. Suppose I take the wire and I don't give any potential difference. Will the electron from here, it will travel over here? No, not at all. Electron will only flow because of the potential difference. So flow of electron due to the potential difference applied. Due to the flow potential difference applied will cause or will cause electric current. Okay, so when the electron moves from one end of the wire to another end of the same wire, then only current is produced. So that is why in the starting of the video, what I've stated, that electricity flows when there is a potential difference. Now you understood, because of this potential difference, this negative charge and the positive charge, electron is flowing. If I don't apply the potential difference, electron won't flow. Similarly, when I shown that diagram of the water, when both the jars of the water was at the same height, water didn't flow. But when I increase the height of one jar, then the water flowed. So you require some kind of difference. Over there was a difference of height. Here there is a difference of negative charges, and that the difference of negative charge is only called as potential difference. So difference of negative charge called potential difference. So due to the potential difference, the electron is traveling. Clear? Okay.
If we have a copper wire, do you think electricity will flow through it? Clearly not. There is nothing that is triggering it. So what is the factor that triggers the flow of electricity? It's called the potential difference. I can't define the term potential difference in one line because it won't help you to understand the concept well. So let's dive a little deeper into it. We see the word potential here. Have you heard the term before? Of course, we have heard of potential energy. It is the stored energy when the object is at rest. When you are holding a ball in your hand, it has potential energy. When you drop the ball, the potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy as it touches the ground. Similarly, there is a concept of electric potential energy. Electric potential energy describes how much charge it has. Just like the ball in your hand has high potential energy, a negative charge close to another negative charge has high potential energy. This negative charge will be repelled by the negative charges and move towards the positive charge, just like the ball falls towards the earth. So what's potential difference then? It's just the difference of charge between the two ends of the wire. This difference arises because of battery consists of cell. Potential difference is also referred as voltage.
So students, now you know what is a potential difference and what is a current. Potential differences is required for the current to flow. So what are the devices that can provide me potential difference? A battery can provide you potential difference. Even solar cells can provide you potential difference. Third factor is your mains. Where the in your house there will be a mains where the current comes. So that mains gives you potential difference. That mains gives you a potential difference of 220 volt. Okay. And fourth thing is a electric generator. So these four are the devices. These devices provides potential difference. Okay, and because of the potential difference, what we get? Potential difference gives rise to current. Okay, and current means what? Current means, okay, I can say potential difference gives rise to flow of electrons. Flow of electrons. And because of flow of electrons, what we get? We get current. So I think you understood till here.
So, for the electric current to flow, there has to be a source of electricity which could be derived from a electrochemical cell, solar cell, electric generator, or dynamos. Let us study an electric cell to understand electricity better. We use electric cell in torches, watches, calculator, toys, etc. If you look at the cell carefully, you will find certain markings on it. On one side of the cell, there is a positive sign, and on the other side, you will find a negative sign. Hence, a cell has two terminals, a positive and a negative terminal. An electric cell produces electricity by chemical reactions taking place between the chemicals placed inside the body of the cell.
Now, as you understood what is a potential difference and what is current, now it is important to talk about wires. Now, the wires are the one through which the electrons flow. Okay, wires. So electrons flows through wires. So a general question comes that wires are made up of what materials? So generally all the wires that we have, it is made up of metals. Not all metals, but specifically wires are made up of copper and aluminium. So basically copper and aluminium are the materials by which wires are made. So why coppers and aluminiums are used? Because this coppers and aluminium has the capability or has the capacity to flow the electron through them. So the materials through which electrons can flow or through which current can flow are called as conductors. Okay, so over here I define what are conductors. So conductors are, you can say, are materials through which current flows. And basically what we use for conductors, see, copper and aluminium are very common, but iron, brass, gold, silver, through them also current can flow very easily. One exception is there. See, basically if you see, copper, aluminium is there, gold, silver, iron, through all of them current flows. And basically if you see all of them that I have written over here, they are metals. So basically what you can say is that all the metals can be said as conductors because metals allow current to flow through them. Correct? But one exception, if I take a non-metal, Graphite is the only non-metal through which current can flow. Graphite. So graphite is a non-metal, but still it behaves as a conductor. So still it behaves as conductor. Correct? So the substances which allow current to flow through them are called as conductors. Now we come to the next part, that is called as insulators. Okay, insulators. So what are insulators? Basically, the substances that does not allow current to flow through them are called as insulators. Substances that does not allow the current to flow through them are insulators. Correct? And what are the examples of insulator that we have? See, a plastic, current cannot flow through plastic. So you can take plastic, rubber, even let me tell you, pure distilled water, okay, can even act as a insulator. Not normal tap water. Tap water will conduct current. But if I take a pure distilled water, current won't flow through pure distilled water. So plastic, pure distilled water, even cotton, you can say, these are all the examples of insulator. Correct? So either is conductor or an insulator. Both are very much important to us because we require that both of them are useful for us. So if I take a conductor and on the other hand I take insulator, both are very much important for us. If I take conductor, the metallic wires are made up of are called conductors, and insulators. You can take the insulator as plastic. Now if I take a wire, suppose this is a wire, okay, this is a simple wire. Now this wire conducts current through it, okay, this wire. But let me tell you, it is very dangerous to keep the wire open, because by accidentally if you happen to touch the wire or anyone touches the wire, that person can get badly electrocuted. So to avoid that kind of situation, we cover the wire with plastic. So we cover the wire with a plastic. So this plastic covering is there. So this plastic covering is there over the wire, and that helps us from accidental touches. So conductors and insulators are both very important to us.
Materials can be divided into two groups, conductors and insulators. Conductors. Materials that allow electric current to flow through them are called conductors. All metals are good conductor of electricity. Carbon in the form of graphite is the only non-metal which is a good conductor of electricity. Electric current is also conducted through human body, as our body contains lots of water. Impure water is a good conductor of electricity, whereas pure water is not. Insulators. Those materials which do not allow electric current to pass through them are called insulators. Materials such as plastic, rubber, wood, glass, polythene, PVC, etc. are insulators. You might have observed that electrician uses rubber gloves while working with electricity because rubber is a bad conductor or insulator that protects from electric shock. The lead of the pencil is made of graphite, as you can see in the video. Now there is a block of graphite and electric current passes through this graphite and the bulb glows. So graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Now both conductors and insulators are important while using electricity. Wires made of copper are used for electric supply, but at the same time these metallic wires are covered with insulating materials like plastic or rubber for safety purposes.
Now, so what are the things that we have discussed? We have discussed potential difference, we have discussed current, then we have discussed conductors and insulators, right? Now we have to discuss what is a switch. So basically, now the topic is switch. How to define switch? Switch, it is a off on device. So it is a off and on device. Suppose you have a bulb at your house. Do you want the bulb to switch it on for the entire day? Absolutely no. When you want the bulb to be on, suppose in the evening or in the night, you switch it on, and in the morning you don't require that bulb or tube light because sunlight is already there. So you need to switch it off. So the device which performs this on and off function, that is called as the switch. So in our chapter, the switch is represented by this kind of a symbol. Okay, say like this, one like this and another like this. Okay, I'm drawing like this way. Now over here, this is the switch. Okay, so this is the switch. Now you can see the switch is what? Switch, this is open. So switch is now off. Because if the switch is off, now the current won't be able to go from this end to this end, because you can see it is open. This small wire is not touching this wire. So current can maximum flow till here. After that, it cannot go till here because this gap is created. Because of the gap created, the current cannot flow further. So the switch is off and the appliance is, so the bulb is right now not glowing. But over here, the switch is on. The switch is on. You can see the switch is on means what? Between these two wires, say this wire and this wire, now this connection is made, and because of the connection which is made, the current will be able to flow, and as the current is able to flow, what happens? The bulb will be switched on. So if I draw the entire diagram over here, if I connect a bulb over here, okay, will the bulb glow? No, the bulb will not glow. Bulb not glow. Bulb not glowing. And if I take if I take the same situation and I switch on it, so now it became on. Okay, now it is on. As the switch is on, you can say the bulb will be glowing. Now the bulb will be glowing. So when the switch was off, the bulb was not glowing. Now the switch is on, the bulb is glowing. Understood? You can watch the video from here.
Electric switch. We put a switch on or off whenever we want to use or not any electrical appliances such as a tube or a fan, AC. A switch is pressed down to complete the circuit and the bulb glows. To put the bulb off, we press the switch up. This breaks the circuit and the bulb glows no more. The switch is so made that under normal conditions, the circuit remains open, the current does not flow in the circuit. When we press the other end of the switch, the circuit is closed, the current flows in the circuit, and the bulb starts glowing. A switch is a device to close or open a circuit.
Now, now you know what is a switch also, and you know what's a voltmeter, ammeter, conductor, insulators. Now we come to the part what is known as symbolic representation. Symbolic representation. See, if you compare, suppose I compare physics with chemistry. In chemistry also you have symbols. Probably you have studied in class 6 or in class 7 also you are studying. Say for sodium. Do we write sodium every time? No. We represent sodium by the symbol Na. Similarly, if I write aluminium, do I write aluminium every time? No. I represent aluminium by Al. So in chemistry, you must have seen the elements are given a particular symbol. So you do not need to write sodium every time. You just write Na, or for aluminium Al. Similarly, you have many other elements and their respective symbols. Exactly like that, what we do in chemistry, we will also doing the same thing in physics. A cell means a single the cell is a positive and negative terminal that gives you potential difference. So how to represent a cell? A cell is represented by these two lines, a bigger line and a smaller line. Bigger line represents the positive terminal, smaller line represents the negative terminal. Now we have battery. Battery is nothing but combination of cell. Battery is nothing but combination of cells. Like if I have two cells, one after the other, so one cell positive negative and another cell positive negative, and the negative of the first cell is connected to the positive of the second cell. Okay, like this way. So this is positive, this part is negative, this is positive, this is negative. So battery is nothing but combination of cells. Next we come to the representation, how to represent bulb. How a bulb is represented? Bulb is represented like this like this way. So you represent bulb in this way. Suppose I give you this is the first, second, third. Now I give you the fourth part. How to represent a switch. Now, just now I told you, if the switch is off, it is represented in this fashion. And if the switch is on, then it is represented in this fashion. So switch off and switch on. So these are the symbolic representation of in physics. These are the things that we represent in physics. These are the few representation that is required.
Symbolic representation of electrical components. In dealing with electrical components, we can use these symbols, components and symbols. Electric cell, battery of two cells, electric bulb, key or close switch, open switch, connecting wires.
So now you know the components that is required to build a circuit. So yes, so our topic will be circuit diagram. So you know all the components. So first thing that is required to make a circuit is what? A cell. Why we require a cell? because it provides a potential difference, right? Next thing that we require to make a circuit is a switch, because it is a off and on device, right? The third thing that we require is a bulb, because whether the current is flowing or not in the circuit, how to know that? If we have an indicator, so the bulb is the indicator, you can say, that will help us to determine whether the current is flowing in the circuit or not. So basically these are the three. No, and one more you require is the wires. Why we require these wires? Because obviously this current has to go from one device to another to another. So this wires provides a pathway for the current to flow, or you can say the electrons to flow. So wires are required to connect the devices. Wires are required to connect the electrical devices. Correct? Now how to connect them? I'll show you this diagram. First we take the battery. First we take a battery. This battery, one side is positive, another side is negative. Now I'll take a wire from the positive side and then I will connect it to a block called a switch. So this switch is a on-off device. So S stands for switch. So this S is a switch. After the switch, this will glow into a bulb. So this is the bulb, and from the bulb it will come to the negative terminal. Okay, so this is the entire circuit diagram, or you can say the circuit. So this is nothing but the battery, and this is the switch, this is the bulb, and this is, you can see, this is the wire. This is the wire. Now battery, switch, bulb and wire, all these four we have. Now the current will go, see, very importantly, note this, electrons will flow from the negative terminal, then it will go to the bulb, then it goes to the switch, and then to the positive terminal. So electron flows from the negative to positive, but current flows opposite to that of electron. Again I am repeating, current flows opposite to that of electron. So current flows from the positive to the switch, then it is an on-off device. Suppose the switch is right now on, the switch is on. So the current can pass through the switch and then it will enter the bulb. As it enters the bulb will glow, and from the bulb it will get to the negative terminal. Okay, so current flows. So this is the current I. Current is represented by the letter I. So current flows from the positive to the negative, and electrons flows from the negative to the positive. Now this thing can be represented in a circuit diagram in this way. A battery is represented by this way. This bigger one represents the positive terminal and the smaller one represents the negative terminal. Now from here you can see, from the battery it connects to the switch. So how to connect the switch? Switch is connected by this way. Now suppose the switch is off. Okay, switch. After the switch it will get into the bulb, And I think I told you how to represent a bulb. Bulb is represented symbolically not by this way, but by this way. So bulb, and then it's connected to the negative terminal. Right now the switch is off. So right now the switch is off. That's why the bulb is not glowing. Once you switch it on, now the current will flow from the positive through the switch, because the switch is off, the switch is on, through the switch into the bulb and then to the negative terminal. And as the current flows through the bulb will glow. So this is the circuit diagram of it. Now I hope you understand this thing by the animation video that I'll put now. So it has to go inside your head that how the current flows in a circuit. To make you understand how current flows in a circuit, I have to discuss all these small things. Now you enjoy this video.
What we see here is a simple electric circuit which consists of a cell, a key or a switch, connecting wires, and a bulb. As we close the switch, the bulb glows. This is because on closing the switch, the circuit gets completed and electric current flows through it, making the bulb glow. Now let us cut any one of the connecting wires. We observe that the bulb does not glow. This time, this happens because the circuit breaks and electric current stops flowing through it.
So basically, if you have watched the entire video till now, I know it's a long video, but if you have watched the entire video, I have covered up portions. I have discussed what is a potential difference. Then I have discussed what is a current. Then I have discussed what are conductors and insulators. Then after that I have discussed the wires. Then after the wires I have discussed about the switch, and after switch I have discussed about the symbolic representation. Okay, and lastly I have discussed the circuit diagram. So if you watch this entire video, our aim was to know what is a circuit diagram. But to understand circuit diagram, you have to know each of them, and starting from the structure of atom. So one thing I have missed, that is called as the structure of atom. Without the structure of atom, you won't know what is a electron, okay, or a proton. Electron and proton, because electrons are negatively charged and protons are positively charged. So you have to know all these things to understand the ultimate concept that is called as, that is the circuit diagram. So I hope you have watched this entire video, and if you still have some doubts in your mind, you can ask in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed this video for whatsoever reason, don't forget to hit the like button. So saying that, take care, bye.